Ever since Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, tensions have also increased around the Baltic Sea. A Russian shadow fleet of vessels has been blamed for suspected sabotage of crucial undersea communications cables. And as a result, NATO leaders from across the Baltic region have now agreed to step up security. The alliance will deploy frigates, patrol aircraft, and naval drones to help protect critical infrastructure in the area. Here's a closer look at what NATO describes as a new breed of Russian hybrid warfare and what the alliance is trying to do about it.
In freezing temperatures in the middle of the Baltic Sea, naval forces from 15 different NATO countries tested underwater surveillance drones and practiced maneuvers to defend critical underwater infrastructure against Russian attacks. Over the last few years, attacks on underwater infrastructure have intensified. NATO believes they were either carried out or sponsored by Russia. Now NATO is gearing up to respond. It is enhancing cooperation among its member states and with private companies to be able to quickly share relevant intelligence and even bury cables in the seabed to prevent them from being cut off by shipping vessels. Another idea is to cover oil and gas pipelines with harder material, such as concrete, and even lay fake cables to confuse the enemy.
I think there are broadly two lines of effort here. One is to increase surveillance to deter potential aggressors from taking hybrid steps. And the other one is to increase the resilience of the infrastructure in order to absorb potential attacks and still keep on going.
In a latest attack, the Finnish authorities seized a Russia-linked ship in the Baltic Sea that they believed to have damaged an undersea electricity cable. In November, the Danish military kept a close watch on a Chinese ship that was sailing nearby the two telecommunication cables that were severed. One ran from Finland to Germany and the other from Sweden to Lithuania. But even as the Allies revised their outdated hybrid warfare strategy from 2015, including responding to Russian disinformation and cyber attacks, they still face many challenges. Experts say thus far Russia's hybrid attacks have been below the threshold that would compel the Allies to invoke Article 5 and respond with collective military force. They say it's a deliberate strategy meant to inflict harm and yet avoid an all-out confrontation. The Baltic nations on the front line with Russia hope NATO will activate Article 5 and come to their aid when needed.
For example, again, if power lines will be completely cut, that situation would not be allowed by NATO, that one member state is in this danger.
For now, NATO's best hope is to deter Moscow, even as they admit Russia's appetite for risk has increased.
A neighbor of Ukraine, Poland, says it feels particularly threatened by Russian hybrid attacks. Our Brussels bureau chief, Alexander Fanaman, addressed this with Poland's Minister for European Affairs, Adam Szłapka.
A huge problem we are facing for years in Poland. We are facing the hybrid attacks on our eastern border, instrumentalization of migration. We are facing the terrorist attack, act of sabotage. So the first thing we need to do is to coordinate with member states and to be together to tackle these problems and to invest money to solve this problem.
And do you think, as a NATO member, that NATO should pay more attention to those hybrid attacks?
We, as Poland, are spending 5% of GDP on defense. So I think we should be listening in terms of that. Yes, the war with Russia, it's actually not only this part in Ukraine. We are attacked by huge waves of disinformation, of hybrid threats, of instrumentalization of migration. So it's the real problems. It's a real war. So we should pay attention also in terms of this part of threats.
And currently there is apparently a ship, part of Russia's shadow fleet, circulating around a pipeline that is providing gas from Norway to Poland. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes, we know that this is the problem, so thinking about sanction, we should also include that.
And last question, what about the others in the European Union? Do you think, because Poland was one of the countries warning against Russia and its aggressive behavior, do you think that your fellow members of the European Union now understand better how to deal with this threat?
In terms of Russia, we were never naive, and we were always trying to convince our partners that we shouldn't be naive, and we were right. So I think after the full-scale invasion on Ukraine, nobody should be naive. There's no just simple back to business as usual. So we should work on sanction and to deter Russia of thinking about Europe as a possible enemy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And that was Poland's Minister for European Affairs, Adam Szłapka, speaking with us earlier.